Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures, and we're going to take a look at, well, I've been really enjoying Ghamak's Ninja Rats that they've been putting out over the past few months. And one thing I noticed was, if you're going to play rats of any kind of fantasy type, usually you're going to have some kind of ancient avatar of your rat god of choice. And so what I found interesting was Ghamak's actually done a couple of different avatars or heralds of the rat now. And finally I decided to give one a print that looked pretty neat. Now you'll have to forgive my sloppy cleaning and printing. I switched resins, and this is around the time that I decided to magically puncture my sheet at the bottom of the vat, so you'll see some changes in the resin. Good size looking head, good size looking body, and where did I put it? A really long double-bladed scything naginata type weapon, which I thought was really cool. There were a couple other ones that they've had. So of the three that have been released at the time of this video, they all have different weapons, they all have different clothing, and similarly styled looks, but they all have been actually different. So here we have the legs. He's got his nice wooden sandals on. Nice and hollowed out. And then his tail is actually three separate pieces. We have the main branch. And then this one splits into three spiked parts. You have these two trailing ribbons, which are going to go on his shoulders. I don't know which is which. We'll figure that out. He's got a bladed fan that's going to hang on his hip. There's a little connection spot for it right there. And then finally, to keep everything propped up, he's got this big, massive obi ribbon to keep things upright. Just to give you an idea of how big that's going to be, it's going to be pretty big. I don't know if I have a base handy enough to put this all on, but we'll see how it turns out once I've had a chance to glue it all together. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns out. So sit tight. All right, we got our first Herald all put together here, and I happen to have a 100mm base handy for him, and he doesn't even fit on the screen. That's how big he is. Let's get that adjusted there. I really like its look. I think it looks really neat. Now, I did not glue the torso to the legs just yet. Figure just for ease of painting. But it definitely has that kind of Eastern Japanese style going on for sure. I had a horrible time with the tail. The tail did not want to attach to the body. I have broken it off at least 3 times. One time right before I was going to film this originally. And then that set me back a few days because I had other things that came up and I just did not get to finish putting this together. It does fit pretty comfortably on that 100mm base. I think of all the designs so far, this one is still my favorite. And if you're curious how big it is, there's a regular rat for you. And we got a couple of humans over here as well. So that should give you a pretty good size indicator, I think. It's pretty big. Is it as big as a GW one? Actually, it might be. It's nowhere near as lithe and as sinewy, I guess, for lack of a better word. The GW one I thought was very thin. I built one ages ago and painted it and everything. I wonder if there's photographic evidence of it out there somewhere. There might be. But that was many moons ago, and that was actually, I guess, that was around the end times, wasn't it? I just had no inclination to start an actual full Skaven army. I've always liked the rats. And I think I'm more than happy to just continue going the 3D printing route, and especially if Ghamak and anybody else wants to throw their hat into the arena for, you know, samurai-themed ones. I always thought that was the coolest part of the Eshin anyways. So, you know, if you wanted a Eshin Vermin Lord, I think this is a nice option for you. But do take a look. Some of the models are, I think, more exciting and original than others. Personally, I prefer when they are a bit more unique like this. If you want something that's a little bit more of a one-to-one copy, I'm sure there's options out there too. So I will put a link down below. You guys can take a look at this yourself. Overall, I got to say it was a pretty easy and simple experience of putting him together. I did forget his fan. I was going to keep that off until the pants are painted, so I guess I could have blue tacked it on. But, oh well. Other than the fact that his blade, the sharp part of the blade is kind of thick, but, you know, at that size, I'd rather it be thick and, you know, a little bit more sturdy than easy to break, especially with, you know, printed resin. That always helps. Her human counterpart? His human counterpart? I don't know. I dig this model from Raging Heroes. Anyway, so like I said, we'll have a link down below if you want to take a look at this yourself. Any of the other Vermin Lord, Heralds of the Horned Rat, whatever you want to call them, they're out there. There's definitely lots of versions available. Find the one that you like the most. I'm going to stick with this one. So with that said, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.